Hi, welcome to Urban Renal Talk with Tamika.
And Steve, what's going on, Tamika? What's going on?
How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself? You look like you're a little under the weather.
Yes, sinus.
Man, I tell you that I know that could be something. I hate when my nose is stopped up.
Yes, and it just came out of nowhere. I was at work just starting to get sick.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, working at the clinic, that's another thing because germs are in hospitals and dialysis units. You have many people in there with immune compromised systems,
Yes.
colds, coughing. And, some people be in clinics and coughing don't even put their hands over their mouth. And
A lot of times they do it. So when I realized that they don't know how to use their hands to cover their mouth, I use my hands to give them a mask.
right, right. I mean, but it's all about just trying to, um, infection control practices to prevent anything from happening, people getting sick, especially in the dialysis unit. You could pick up a lot of germs,
Right.
in the unit. And we talked about that.
Yep, especially from the door, the door going in and out of the unit, from the sink.
Yeah, bathroom.
The scale is the number one germer, only because a lot of mishaps happen on the scale. Patients
Yeah, people bleed.
start to bleed, and people forget that someone just bled there, and they'll touch that spot and not even look. They take their shoes off, their socks off, and their way like that, not realizing that someone just bled, even though we cleaned it up. Someone just bled there.
Right, right. So if you're watching this broadcast, please share this broadcast. Share, share, share. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Urban Health Outreach Media.
Yeah.
Tamika, this show tonight is awesome. I'm not sure if you was on when I interviewed Pastor Nick Gentile, who feverishly, he seeked for almost 10 years to find someone to donate a kidney. Wow. Now, who does that? Searches 10 years looking to donate to somebody, but he had these different barriers put before him. And so finally, within the last year, I believe, he magically found someone, Terry Patterson. However, he didn't match Terry. And through Georgetown, they hooked him up what's called the voucher program, where because he didn't match Terry, he was able to give Terry a voucher and then donate to someone else. Now, Terry was guaranteed to get the next kidney coming up or whenever that process took place. So we're going to hear their story. We also have Terry Patterson here from New Jersey to tell us about the program, how it worked for her, how her life is right now, post-dialysis. So let's bring on no other than Pastor Nick Gentile from Albany, New York. Hey, Pastor Nick, how you doing?
I'm well by the grace of God. How are you guys?
Hi, Pastor Nick. How are you?
Fine. Thanks for joining us. I know you was here once before. Before we bring on our other guest, Terry Patterson, can you share a synopsis of your kidney donor journey? It's not you was looking for a kidney, you was looking to give someone a kidney.
Amen. Yeah, it was a crazy journey. It was 10 and a half years long, starting in late January, early February of 2009, and culminating in late July of this past year. And there were a lot of obstacles I had to overcome, a lot of challenges, a lot of doors that appeared to open and then would abruptly close for no apparent reason. A lot of politicking in hospitals, a lot of getting the runaround by hospitals, Just a lot of frustration and discouragement. But I believe it was God's will for me to do it. And that gave me the ability, by the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, to endure until it finally happened.
Pastor Nick,
yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you would think the way that they're searching for organs right now and want to transplant people, 10 years and all these obstacles, why do you think? I mean, I know you said it was God's will and the right person received the organ, but why the obstacles when the need for donorship is high?
That's the question, especially since they say they're looking for living donors. And I really wanted to donate, and I made that abundantly clear. And I was well aware of the risks that accompany donation, as much as anyone could be prior to donating. And yet they came up with arbitrary reasons. I'll give you an example. In 2011, I went through the testing process for a young man in Albany, who he's from Albany, but it was at Weill Cornell Medical Center in New York City. And I was healthy enough. They determined I was healthy enough, but they said I was too young. They said I was too young. I was 25 at the time. Now, and they also said, well, your health insurance is going to be expiring in about a month, so we're not going to move forward. Now, the problem I had with their decision was because they knew how old I was before I began the testing process, and they knew my insurance was expiring, and yet those were the two reasons that they disqualified me as a donor. So that was completely arbitrary because I was old enough, 25 years old. I knew the risks. I was able to articulate myself well enough at the time to let them know, you know what, I know the potential risks, but I'm of a sound mind and body. I'm willing to deal with whatever comes my way if something is to happen. But I know that that this is a pretty safe procedure, and the risks are minimal for someone in my age bracket who was at that time and still am now was in really good health, and yet their reasoning just to me was very weak, had a lot of holes, and I hated it because of the false hope. It wasn't what they put me through; it's the fact that they gave that young man and his family false hope. They could have just disqualified me from jump and then moved on to someone else. But by the grace of God, he did get a kidney some other way from someone else. But it was years down the road that happened for him. So you can imagine what he dealt with between the time that I got tested for him and then he eventually did, in fact, receive the kidney. So it's just, to me, some of these hospitals, they treat people like they're just numbers, like they don't matter, like they're not. Obviously, not everyone believes in God, and I understand that, but I recognize that everyone is made in the likeness and image of God and has the same intrinsic worth and value, regardless of their skin color, the language they speak, whatever. So they should be treated with honor and respect and decency and courtesy. And yet, it's the exact opposite. And I would say this, not to inject color unnecessarily, but I do think it's necessary. I think that played a role in why right before I donated, I had such a problem, because the person that I was paired with, her name was Trina. It took us over a year basically, I'll just say it like this. We started out at Temple University Hospital. I got tested there. I got some of the testing done there, but they played so many games and gave me the runaround so much to the point where both Trina and I decided we got to move on to another hospital, because she was a patient at like 4 or 5 different hospitals, including Georgetown University Hospital. So after a long time of dealing with Temple and getting the runaround, and even though I went there and went through some of the tests, they were incompetent when I went there and had to deal with them. And I don't want to go into too many details, but the whole process was a nightmare dealing with them. And, me pursuing them, making the calls that I had to make, attempting to get in touch with the nurse and the kidney coordinator and the social worker and whoever, and getting the runaround and leaving messages and not hearing back from them for weeks. And it just got to the point where we were just treading water and not making any progress. So Trina said, let's move forward. Let's focus on Georgetown. And once that happened, then things started opening up. And eventually I got approved as a donor at Georgetown. But the reason I bring up color is because Trina's Black. And I do personally believe that was one of the reasons why we got the runaround.
Yeah.
I think if she was
Wow.
white, it wouldn't have happened. That's my personal opinion.
Sure.
Now that's subjective and that's my personal opinion, but I'm entitled to it because I went through it.
Mhm.
Right.
And it's just it's wrong. But ironically, after I got approved, so I started testing to get paired with her because I wasn't blood type compatible with Trina. She's I'm A positive. So I couldn't donate to her directly, but I was getting tested to see if I was healthy enough to be paired with her as a part of the paired kidney exchange program or the kidney paired exchange program they had at Temple. Started off at Temple and then went to Georgetown. And eventually, after starting in it would have been October of 2017, I eventually got approved in December of 2018. And then a couple weeks after getting approved, she got a kidney from Temple after all of that.
Wow.
So she ironically did get a kidney from Temple, but prior to that, they treated us like crap. And so that, but I praise God she got the kidney. That was awesome. I give the Lord all the glory for that. But anyways, that's really, it was frustrating, but it was worth it. I learned a lot from the process in terms of the education about the whole process of being a kidney donor, but also perseverance. Not that I wasn't a person who had perseverance, but I grew stronger as a man. My moral character got stronger, and I praise God for the whole thing. I wouldn't change anything that happened other than the disappointment that families were put through by the false hope that some of these hospitals gave some of the people I got tested for.
All right, let's bring up the recipient of the voucher program because you selflessly donated your organ to someone else so this person, Terry Patterson, could receive a kidney. Let's meet Terry Patterson. Hey, Terry, how you doing?
Hi, can you see me?
Yes.
Oh, my screen was
Yes.
dark. I didn't know if you could
Oh,
see
that's
me.
okay. Welcome to Urban Reno Talk with Tamika and Steve.
Hi, Tamika.
Congratulations.
How are you?
Good.
So,
I'm very well.
Hi, how's the new kidney?
So, huh?
I said, how was the new kidney?
Oh my God. I don't ever feel like I was sick, and I know I'm not 100%, but I feel so much better than I did. I was telling Steve earlier that you literally fighting for your life every day you're on dialysis. And I hate to use the word hate, but I hated it. I hated it. I cried for the first 6 months. Every Monday and Wednesday I had treatment, I cried. And it just gotten to be too much. And I really believed that I was going to die on dialysis. I wasn't one of those people that felt like they were going to get a kidney because I don't have siblings. Both of my parents are deceased. I don't have children. So the chances of getting a living donor was slim to none. But I want to shed some clarity. It wasn't that Nick wasn't a match because I'm blood type A and so was Nick. What happened was Nick's stuff was about to expire.
Well, let me get into that a little later. Yeah, I'll touch on that just from my
Right.
end.
okay. Okay.
Right.
So Terry, how long were you on dialysis?
2 years, 2 months, and 16 very long days.
Mm-hmm. And what was the cause?
I had a procedure done about 10 years ago, and they almost killed me. They nicked my left iliac, which is one of your main arteries.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I started to have issues with my blood pressure. Slowly over a period of time, it just continued to get worse and worse and worse. And things started to happen. They couldn't stabilize my blood pressure. Then we started to see blood in my urine.
Mm.
And then my creatinine started to increase. And I think that had my medical doctor been more proactive, instead of trying to treat me for something that he didn't specialize in, he should have referred me to a nephrologist sooner than he did. But it is what it is. I believe that things don't always happen to you; they happen for you.
Mm.
you know, and I don't view myself as a selfish person. I believe that everything happens in divine order the way it's supposed to happen. And, you know, we talking about how long Nick was trying to donate, but God had another plan. If he was supposed to give that kidney to that young man, it would have worked. And because I believe that when something is God's will, it's no struggle or no strife. It just happens intuitively without a tug of war.
Mm.
And God knows our strengths and he knows our weaknesses. And at this point, I was getting to the point where I felt like I couldn't take it no more. And I've always been the kind of person that was scared of death. But at this point, I was saying, God, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't going to kill myself, but I was saying I'm tired because I had several people tested. And anything that you could think of with somebody getting tested came up. I had a girl find out she was HIV positive and she was getting ready to get married. And she was thanking me because she said if she wasn't trying to help me, she wouldn't have got tested because she wasn't interested. You know, she had a past, but it had been so long that she was really unbothered. You understand? She had somebody in her life that loved her, and she knew that her guy was going to stay with her regardless. And they ended up getting married. And she's well, she's healthy. She's not doing medication. She's doing the natural route, she says.
Sure.
But I get it, but I didn't get it. I was like, okay, God, I know you use people for a bigger purpose than what we could physically see with the eye, but I'm going to need you to use somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So, Terry, did you know about or heard about kidney disease before this happened to you?
Interesting. Back in 1995, I used to do medical transportation, right? And the route that I had, all the people that I would transport were either on dialysis or they had cancer and they were dealing with chemo and radiation. All my population. And those people were really crazy about me because of the kind of nurturing spirit that I had. And I remember this one particular older gentleman. He would call for transportation and he didn't have a doctor's appointment. He wasn't on dialysis, but he would request to go to the doctor and he only wanted to ride with me. And there would be times that I would come get him. I'd be like, where you going? It's not on the paperwork. He'd be like, please don't get mad at me. I don't have an appointment. I just want to get out the house. I just want to hang out with you. Can I hang out with you today? Because his children didn't come see him. I didn't understand. And I had just lost my mother during that time. So, you know, I had a lot on my plate, but I knew a little bit, but I never used to go in the unit. I would walk into the door. I would never go in. I didn't know what to expect. That's why when they told me dialysis, that I had to go get an emergency catheter put in my chest, I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going because I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what to expect. And and the needle.
Right.
I didn't want to do that.
Oh, when you did the emergency dialysis, did they put a catheter and it looks like this?
When I did the emergency dialysis, they put a catheter in my chest. And
they didn't put it on the side of your neck?
No, I told them they admitted me in the hospital that had a catheter put in and go straight to dialysis. And I told them, I said, okay, I'm willing to do this for 6 months because people do acute treatment too. And I wasn't buying into the fact that I had end-stage renal failure. I wasn't speaking that over my life. And some of it could have been denial. And the 6 months was the longest 6 months. Then they started trying to force me to get an access in my arm, and I refused. And they was explaining infection. So I started Googling that stuff and educating myself. And then I found out that they might know what they were talking about. I actually found out that if I stopped going to dialysis, that it was a high probability that I would die in 2 weeks. Now, at this point, I don't think I wanted to die. I just didn't want to do dialysis. But I didn't understand that if I stopped, I would die. If I missed treatment, I could die. If I cut treatment, I could die. Because people have died for missing one treatment. Their potassium shoot up or whatever. I made it my business once I got acclimated. But in the beginning, I was defiant. I wasn't a
Mm,
good patient. I wasn't nice to the nurses because I'm a helper professionally, but I couldn't help myself. And I couldn't
wow.
understand that concept. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
things would happen like I would go in the unit, the nurses would look at me. They gotta look at me.
Right.
And I'd be like, I don't know why she looking at me like that, but you know what? You can take me off. I'm going home.
Ha! Oh my gosh, I have a patient like that now.
Yeah, that was me. Oh,
Right.
she took too much off. She trying to kill me. Take me off. I'm going
Yeah.
home.
And
Right.
I'm not signing the AMA.
Yeah.
So, Nick,
Yes,
when
sir.
when you hear comments like this about
Mhm.
what Terry went through, what goes through your mind knowing that you was able to or you were responsible for her being able to get a transplant, hearing the stories that she's talked about and not liking dialysis? How does that make you feel, knowing that you changed her life in a very positive way
Mhm.
and
Well,
meaningful way?
I give all glory to the Lord Jesus Christ because if not for him, the transplant would never have been successful for her.
Right.
So I don't
Mm-hmm.
take any credit for it because it's just a lump of cells in tissue, right? Apart from God animating it. So I was just a
Mm,
vessel of love that enabled her to get the voucher, that enabled her to get the kidney from someone else. And I'm thankful that I played a small role, and I'm a cog in the wheel. But Jesus is ultimately responsible, the Lord Jesus Christ, for what everything that fell into place. So I give him all the glory for it. I'm thankful though that my faithfulness paid off, that God rewarded me with being able to be used in that capacity for his glory. That's how I
mm-hmm.
look at it. Just a vessel of his love, nothing more, nothing less. He could have used anyone else, but I'm so thankful that he used me in the way that he did to help her get that voucher. And I praise God for the person who donated to her. And that's the beauty of the voucher program. And we can get into more detail about that,
Sure.
whenever you guys are ready for that. But I'm thankful. I'm humbled that the Lord used me in the way that he did.
Mhm.
But it's all because of him. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's terrible what she went through, but it was for a reason,
Mhm.
and it strengthened her and made her a better person, more compassionate, more empathetic. I That's what
Wow.
I believe. That's what's happened for me, and the stuff that I've gone through, the suffering I've dealt with. It's made me more empathetic towards people who go through the same thing or have gone through that or something to that effect. So
Mm-hmm.
I just praise God for the small role I play.
Right. I know, Tamika, you want to ask a question. Let me ask Terry one more question. Now, Terry, you mentioned you were on dialysis 2 years.
2 years, 2 months, and 16 days.
Absolutely. Now, at what point after you received your transplant did you know how blessed you were? Because 2 years is not, I mean, I know it's a long time, but you got people who been on
I know.
dialysis 5, 10, 15 years waiting.
Mm-hmm.
At what
Mhm.
point did you realize that how blessed you was to get that transplant so quickly?
Exactly. That's a good point and a good question because remember, I was going to also tell you this. Outside of the young lady that found out she was positive, I had people that were in my life volunteer. And then when it got down to the nitty gritty to start doing certain things, like doing the blood work, they stopped answering the phone. They
Mm,
just disappeared off of earth. So when I had that conversation with Nick and I talked a couple of hours on the phone. At the end of that conversation, he told me that the Lord spoke to him and he was going to help me. All I could do was cry, but I wasn't 100% sold because, and I said I
sure,
wasn't going to get emotionally involved because I didn't know Nick. I knew what he was saying
sure.
to me, and it felt sincere, but I had to wait and see. I said I'm not going to get emotionally involved until they got me on my way to the OR. That's when I'm going to get emotionally involved.
So
But
when you
Mm-hmm.
get
what,
the kidney.
when I realized it was when I was before really going into the OR, but when the social worker started communicating with me and putting everything in place, I said, wow, because the short time, and you're right, I really was on a short time looking on the grand scheme of things, because I had people at my unit that's been on it 10 years, 15 years, and the short time that I was on, you know how many people died?
Mm.
And when I went in there, I was saying, I'm not making no friends. I don't need no new friends here. Matter of fact, I'm putting my sunglasses on and I'm at the beach. Don't talk to me. Don't try to be friendly because this is not a social event. And I told you how I was. In the end, I had become friends with the medical director. They set the new people by me. I was like the spokesperson at my unit. Even the social worker, his first day, he felt like he had went to hell because he had to deal with me. And
Wow.
now, when I left, the staff was like, "We really gonna miss you, but we glad you getting your transplant." Even the charge nurse walked me out the last day. It was like I was their little baby that graduated from high school. Everybody was happy. They were happy. But I
That's awesome.
changed. It changed me. And I've never been a bad person, but it changed me. It
Right.
made me become more God centered, less self centered, and more dependent
Mm.
on God and less dependent on man. You understand?
Oh,
Amen.
absolutely.
And
Good.
and
Amen.
things that I used to take for granted, I no longer take for granted.
Right.
And I've learned how to pick my battles. Like, know what? That ain't even important. I ain't doing that one. Nope. You right. Yep. You right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
just wanted to ask, how did you guys get into the voucher program?
So Nick was like he was telling you he was gonna donate to Trina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me just touch on it because yeah, so what happened was I got paired with Trina for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then she got a kidney from Temple. This was out of the blue. So I got a text on New Year's Eve 2018. And she said, "Oh, brother, I got a call from Temple and it was out of the blue and I got a kidney." And I had mixed emotions about it. On the one hand, I was thrilled for her because that was the whole goal. I mean, I wanted to glorify the Lord, but I wanted to help Trina.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. We grew to become very close, like brother and sister, older sister, younger brother. And I really wanted to help her. Now, again, it would have been the pair kidney exchange, but I really wanted to be the person to help her get a kidney. I was very convicted about that. So on the one hand, I was very happy for her that she got a kidney, but on the other hand, it was like a gut punch because of all that I had been through, and specifically with her getting tested for over a year between the two facilities
Right.
and dealing with all the challenges. But I praised God for it, and I said, obviously, the Lord is sovereignly in control. This is for a reason. So then I connected with a couple of other people, and it just didn't work out. And then Trina told me about Terry
Mm-hmm.
because one of the stipulations I had was that the person moving forward, the person had to be willing to get tested at Georgetown because I had been approved as a donor at Georgetown, and I didn't want to go to another facility and have to go through the process again.
All over again. Right.
So when Trina told me that Terry was going to have an appointment, this is in March now, March of last year, she was going to have an appointment at Georgetown, and we were both A positive. I was like, praise God. And so Trina connected us, and like Terry said, we had a long conversation over the phone, and it was really, really good. And I was excited about it because of the stuff we talked about and the stuff I already knew. And so what Terry told me was she had an appointment in late April, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Georgetown. And then they're gonna, and he can tell you more about that. But and she was gonna get tested to see if she's right healthy enough to be approved as a recipient, to be listed as a patient at the hospital.
Right.
So we had a long wait there. And then finally she did get approved. And so then I got in touch with the I think it was your coordinator. I think is
Right.
who I got in touch with, and she told me I actually had to have blood drawn over again, even though they had my results already at Georgetown. And I was like, why do I? You already have my blood results, and they're still good enough. Why do I have to do this again? She said, well, that's the requirement here. So I said, okay. So they sent me a blood draw kit, but no place in Rochester, which is where I'm actually. I'm not actually from Albany. I'm from Rochester, which is in upstate New York. Albany's in downstate, it's the capital. It's okay though, not a problem. But no place in Rochester where I'd gone before and been successful in having blood drawn, the blood work done. No one would draw my blood. So I saw that as, okay, it's not God's will. And my time, like Terry alluded to, my time was running out in terms of being eligible to be a donor. Because now
So
we're
when
in
you
June.
say, so when you
Yes.
say your time was running out, could you explain that more?
Yeah, at Georgetown, they give you about a year to stay eligible. And then you got to start the process all over again. And that year was coming up. And so I was like, I didn't want to, because they had my results, because I went there first in August. Okay. And that's when I had all the diagnostic tests done. And everything checked out, but I needed a psychiatric evaluation. That took place in December. And then it was 2 or 3 weeks after that when I was approved as a donor. But the diagnostic tech, it seems like, well, this was June, of August, but time flies by and I couldn't get it drawn here. And so it was like, you know what? I'm like, I can't take a chance on wasting any more time because it's going to take them time to set up a date for me to come in and donate, right? Because I was told at the beginning of the year, after it fell through with Trina, I was told by the paired kidney exchange coordinator, okay, you can come in and you can be a non-directed donor. But I really wanted to know the person I was going to donate to. It was really a conviction I had. But my time was running out. It wasn't working out with getting blood drawn for Terry. So I said, you know what? I'm going to move forward and I'm going to do this, but I'm going to find a way to help her. So when I spoke with the kidney coordinator, the paired kidney exchange coordinator at Georgetown, I said, I'm going to move forward as a non-directed donor because my eligibility as a donor is running out, but I want to help Terry. How can I do that? And that's when I was first introduced to the voucher program. And it's an awesome program. And I'll just give a little bit of information and then Terry can say what she has to say. But I do want to say, so basically what the voucher program is, and she knows it from experience, it is an awesome program that everyone should know about. And it's basically a kidney paired exchange separated in time. That's essentially what it is. So basically, a regular or standard paired kidney exchange is where, okay, say we had Trina and I. Trina, we're not blood type compatible, so I couldn't donate to her, but I got tested and I was healthy enough to be paired with her. And then the other thing they would do is find another pair to pair us up or match us up with. And then the recipient from the other pair, I would donate to them, and the donor from the other pair would donate to the person I'm paired with. In this case, it would have been Trina. And so all the surgeries take place on the same day in a standard paired kidney exchange. But with this, there's a time lapse. So I was blessed by the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ to donate in late July of this past year. And then Terry donated, she got the voucher and she donated months after that. And the beauty, and she can talk about it from her perspective, but it's awesome because with this program, you can get a voucher for a friend or up to 5 family members who either need a kidney right when they get the voucher, or if they don't even have kidney disease, it can be for them years down the road, and they can redeem it down the road. That's the benefit. And there's no guarantee with this program that that a hospital is going to be able to find a match for someone who needs a kidney, but they're put at the top of the list. Essentially, they're giving preferential treatment. You're there. If they find a match, boom, you're going to get a kidney. And it happens quickly. And it happened relatively quickly for Terry. But I'll be quiet now. And I praise the Lord Jesus Christ for that. But Terry, you shared, I'm sorry, Tamika, it's your show. I don't want to leave you quiet. But,
no, man, that was a great perspective of what you said, Nick. Now, Terry, can you tell us how does this voucher work on your end? Because you were the recipient of it. Now, let me ask you, did you have any doubts right? Any doubts about this voucher? Like, say Nick donated, like if they were going to come through or not, or you were going to get bumped. Did any of that go through your mind before you
Well,
actually got the call?
not at all, because when Nick and I had the conversation and he told me he wanted to help me, I said, okay. Then my coordinator called me because I had one coordinator, but she transitioned to another job. The person that moved in that role set called me and said, there's somebody that wants to donate to you. And she explained the program. And she said, when he donates, you'll get a voucher. It's like a contract. You guys sign a contract and you have to agree because he's going to expire soon. So in essence, you guys are helping other people too, and you still getting help. Mm-hmm. So you know how it worked for me? I had to use reverse psychology on myself. I counted how many more dialysis I had. I said 10 more treatments. And that was what I used to motivate myself. 8 more treatments, 7 more treatments. And Nick is right. He donated in July. I got called the first time in November, right before my birthday. This kidney was coming from California. As fate would have it, when California was removing the kidney, they damaged the arteries, so it became a dead case. Now I'm devastated all over again. I turned into that person that started dialysis in the beginning. So they told me, unfortunately, I had to go home. I said, well, I don't think that's a good idea. I said, I think I'll stay here in y'all apartment until y'all find me a kidney. Shouldn't take that long. I'll be right here at y'all apartment because they put you up in an apartment.
Right.
They said, no, Miss Patterson, we think you should go home and we'll call you. Oh my God, you talking about a Samba ride back to New Jersey, 3 hours and 15 minutes. It seemed like the world stopped. I came home. Within 2 weeks, the girl called me back and I missed the call. I called her ASAP. I was like, hey, Jessica, you called me? She was like, yes, Miss Patterson. I said, you got good news? She was like, very good news. I got another kidney offer. And it's from a 23-year-old, and it's coming from Cincinnati. It's not coming from California. Are you interested? Yes, ma'am. When do you want me there? Wow. She said, you need to be here on the 16th. Your surgery is scheduled for December 17th. Because the other thing, too, was I had went back to work. And when the first kidney fell through, now I had to tell my supervisor that I was going out and what was going on with me because HR knew. And you know they tell the supervisor. And, you know, I felt like I wasn't 100% in my role set. And then I felt like, oh, boy, now I'm exposed. He know why I'm dragging now because I don't have no energy. Mm-hmm. And when he called me and I don't answer, he think I'm somewhere asleep, which I probably was. Because I would go to dialysis and go straight to work.
Now, Terry, let me ask you, is anything outlined in that contract, that voucher that says if anything goes wrong within a certain amount of time with the transplanted kidney that you would go back to the top?
I don't remember that. But I know one thing. I do remember it being something where, because you really don't know where it's coming from, who, you can't hold them liable for anything.
Right.
So we're talking blind faith.
Uh-huh.
So people do things sometimes in life and it don't come back to bite them to 15 or 20 years later. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd take the same kidney. And Nick is like an angel walking around on earth. I can't thank him enough. I can't.
Praise the Lord.
Now, have you been back to the dialysis center since the transplant?
Very good question. Absolutely not. And mind you, I have friends there now. Who would have thought that my life would have came to being friends with 80-year-olds and just worrying about them and how they doing, because the one guy, he would go to the casino and he wouldn't set up treatment. He said, I'm on vacation. The other guy, my chairmate, one was 75, the other is 88. Those were my two best friends at dialysis.
Wow.
White older gentlemen. I loved them. One of them died when I went to DC the first time. He thought everything was a conspiracy with the government. He said, I'm not trying to convince you not to get no transplant, but you better watch him because them so-and-so, you know, but oh, he died. And my other one, I want to go up there, but I can't. Every time every time I think about it, I get nauseous.
Right.
That dialysis got a smell to it. You'll never forget that smell.
Yeah, that's the acid, the solution. Now, Terry, what would you tell people who's watching this program right now and that's been on dialysis 5, 6, 7 years? They're on a transplant list. What could you share with them to kind of help them keep their spirits up that their donor is right around the corner?
That's what I tell them. Don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Because if it happened for somebody like me that don't have no relatives that's healthy to donate, because all my aunts and uncles, well, all my uncles are pretty much dead except one. All my aunts have a diabetes, so they couldn't donate. I don't have children. I don't have siblings. Both my parents are dead. It was a high probability that I was going to die from this disease. I just tell people, hold on. And I share with them my struggle and how it made me a better person, how I became more God dependent. You know, sometimes people would say, all that you're going through, how you manage to smile? I say, you have no idea. I make it look easy, but it's not easy. But I'm telling you, hold on, because it can happen for me. It's going to happen for you. Like I'm talking to a girl now that's in the support group that says she pretty much ain't going to dialysis no more. She leave like she going to dialysis. Her family thinks she going to dialysis and she ain't going. She said she ain't doing it no more. And that happened to a friend of mine in February. She died. No, well, she died in June. She called me in February and asked me what to expect. She didn't want to get no access. She finally got it. When she went to get her treatment, she cussed them people out. And they made her sign a thing because, you know, she AWOL. And they told her come back Monday. Her daughter came home and found her on the floor. Her potassium had shot up and she was convulsing and she died. 60 years old.
See,
so
this
she
is
was worried about going on a cruise.
Checkups. What did you say, Tamika?
This is why they need to do mental wellness checkups. Just call the patient, not do it at chair side. You know, take a moment, 5 minutes, and call the patient and have a real conversation with them, because they can save a life.
Yeah.
Doing it.
And not only that, another thing they need to put a protocol in place for. When dialysis patients complain about them cramps, don't tell me it's part for the cause. Don't tell me it's a side effect of the treatment. Because I had 100% blockage the day I got my transplant. Thank God the surgeon listened. So I had 2 surgeries in one. The team had to come in and unblock my arteries, which took 4 hours. And the transplant took another 4 hours. I went in surgery at 4. I didn't wake up until the next morning after 8 o'clock.
So you had calcium you had calcium in your arteries?
I had clogged arteries.
Oh, clogged.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Did you have any swelling or anything?
That's the thing. I wasn't swollen, but I used to have these cramps. Worse than when they pull off too much. These cramps would wake me up out of my sleep, and I'd be screaming, and they'd run from my thigh all the way down to my feet, just ball knotting, and it was so bad. I felt like I could take a kitchen knife, cut my legs off, and just be happy. I don't need legs.
Wow.
Mm.
That sounds like extreme pain.
It was.
Now, Nick,
It
I'm
was.
sorry. I'm sure. But that is one side effect when they do take off a lot of fluid or too much, unfortunately. Nick, when what would you tell someone looking at this show right now that's actually looking at a donor who donated to someone else and got a voucher for Terry? I'm sure people watching right now may be looking for a transplant. What could you tell them and how they can get their miracle to happen just as Terry did? You being the donor. What words of hope?
Well, not just words of hope, but practical, a practical application or practical steps they can take. They can go to a website
Sure.
called Donor to Donor. That's TO. So DONOR, donor to donor.net. And if they scroll down the page,
you
now
said
this
donor
website
to donor.net?
Yes.
Donor to donor.net. And it's a foundation devoted to raising awareness of kidney disease and promoting living kidney donation. But there's a video on here. It's entitled Having Your Donor Find You. And it was created by Harvey Meisel, and he's the founder of the Living Kidney Donor Network. And he's a 2-time kidney recipient.
Wow.
And he travels the country giving presentations.
He's a lawyer, isn't he?
I don't know anything about him other than what it has here, but this is a powerful video. It's a 40-minute video. If they scroll down the homepage of donortodonor.net, they can watch this video, and it can help them to find a living donor.
Wow.
That's
you
what I would
guys
say.
hear it, donortodonor.net. Scroll down and you'll see, what's his name, Nick?
Harvey Meisel. His first name is spelled Harvey, and his last name is spelled Mysel. And he's the founder of the Living Kidney Donor Network. So you have that option, and you can always contact donortodonor.net, and you can talk to them and ask them if they can help connect you with someone who's looking to be a living donor. They may be able to help you with that. But
wow.
I would say I would say this, as those just kind of going back quickly to the voucher program. Like Terry said, you can help so many people with that. It's the advanced. It's actually another name for it is the Advanced Donation Program. And through that program, you as a non-directed donor, meaning you're donating directly to someone you don't know, but you're donating to a chain. So like up to 6 or 7 people can getting a kidney as a part of that chain. And without you donating, there is no chain, right? That's why it's a chain. You got each link is equally important, as well as giving the voucher to a person such as Terry. So you're helping multiple people. It's just a beautiful thing and such a privilege by the grace of God to be a part of it. So anyone who is interested in being a living donor, if you're not looking to donate to someone specific, you can also go to donortodonor.net again, and you can, at the top of the page, there's a link entitled Donor Interest Forms, and you can contact the organization about getting started with the process. And essentially, once, if you get approved as a donor at any hospital, I would encourage you to donate through the Advanced Kidney Donation Program, which is what I did. Non-directed donor, altruistic donor. These are different terms they use for people who do this, but this is the voucher program. And like I said before, if say you're looking to, because one of the things that people used to say to me, in particular, some of my family members, well, what if one of us needs a kidney? You want to donate to a stranger? What if one of us needs a kidney? Well, with the voucher program, you can get up to 5 vouchers for your for 5 family members.
What?
Yeah, up to 5 vouchers. So if at some
Five vouchers.
5 vouchers, even if they don't need a kidney at that point in time, if say they needed one like 5-10 years down the road, they get it and they redeem it. But like Terry said, it's a contract. I had to sign a contract. She did as well. And the key is this: I had to donate in order for it to be good for her, as far as I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I had to keep
you
my.
had to go through with it.
I had to go through with it. So once you do that, then either your friend or up to 5 family members can benefit either in the immediate or down the road. That's the beauty. And you jump right to the head of the list. And if they can find a donor for you, beautiful. If you need it. So yeah.
So instead of one person getting it, up to 5 people could get a voucher just for your one
family, 5 family
donation.
members. And that's the beautiful thing, because again, just to reiterate, that was something that is, in particular, my oldest brother. You know, I'm the youngest of 3. He was really concerned, and he kept saying, well, what if one of us, why would you want to donate to a stranger, someone you don't even know? And I would say, well, because you guys don't need a kidney. And I'm not living in a hypothetical world. There are people right now that need a kidney, and I'm going to do that. But with this program, you don't have to worry about that, because you can get a voucher for one of your family or up to 5 family members. It's awesome. Beautiful. And
so you have 5 vouchers.
5 vouchers.
Pretty much.
5 vouchers. Yeah. It's beautiful.
They just for family members. Can you give them to anybody else?
No, just for family members, according to what I've read. That's the family voucher. Then you have the standard voucher, which is what I got for Terry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I praise God for that. It's just, yeah.
Right. No. Go ahead. Nick. I mean,
go ahead. No, I wonder why they don't really push this program out. Like, even at my clinic, you don't see anything about a pair anything. The only pair you'll see up there if 2 patients passed away at the same time, and they'll have their obituary up there. Like, they don't have anything up there about the different options that's available for the patients. And I worked at other units, and I still haven't seen this information.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, Terry, did you know about this program before meeting Nick? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I said no, I didn't until Nick mentioned it to me. But what I will say is I was listed at St. Barnabas in New Jersey, and my coordinator told me that I could list at as many places as I wanted to. Once I came out of that funk and I started hitting the ground running, advocating for myself and educating myself, she didn't want to do her damn job. She had one job to do, and she didn't want to do it. Basically, fax this to Florida, fax this to DC. You want me to do your job, miss? And I understand you don't need to get emotionally involved with me. We don't have to be friends, but do your freaking job instead of sitting around eating all damn day.
Right. Now, Terry, what's in the future now for Terry since you got your transplant? What's the future?
I'm going to Disney World. I always wanted to say that.
Right.
No. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I think that I always feel like I owe, based on where I come from and the way my life was once upon a time. So when I say that, I mean that in a good way. Like, I have a responsibility to help somebody in any way that I can. And I always believe that I have a responsibility to leave people better than they were when I entered their life, if that makes sense. So
absolutely.
Right. I have a friend that has a business, and I help him out. I see kids in their home because I never had any children, and I feel like that's my way of helping the kids because they didn't ask to come here. They born to addicts. You know, some of them don't feel love. They have issues. And in my work, I am a therapist. That's what I do. So I still help people and I help families. That's why it was so hard for me because I saved the day. I'm Wonder Woman. All you got to do is blow the whistle. If I'm in your life, you blow the whistle and I'm coming.
I'm
I ask
sure.
questions later, but I'm coming. That's how I am in my professional life too, because
Mm-hmm.
I love what I
Mm-hmm.
do. I think that people that need people are the luckiest people in the world, and the people that can help people. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I
Absolutely.
just feel like I'm gonna keep serving because I gotta serve my way out. I owe again. I owe again because somebody helped
Mm-hmm.
me. And the way,
So let me ask.
mhm,
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead,
no,
Terry. Finish
and
that.
the way that I show my gratitude and my appreciation is I pay it forward. And I don't tell nobody everything I do. Sometimes I just do stuff for people. I don't even have to know you. Like if I'm out, if I'm in the supermarket and I see a mom and she's struggling and she got a couple of items and I see her like, oh, I'm gonna put, I pay for it. I don't tell nobody. I just pay.
Mm-hmm.
Or I
Right.
pay for the
So
person coffee, that little things. Cause I want to make it
right.
better and I don't live a perfect life. You understand what I'm saying? So I try
Oh,
to make my
absolutely.
good outweigh my bad.
Now let me ask you. You said something very important. You said that you helped a lot of people. You were there whenever someone needed you. All they had to do was call you.
Hmm.
Now, when you during this 2 years,
Hmm.
did you feel abandoned because no one was helping you with getting a transplant that you were helping so many people? Did you feel like no one was helping you and then it got to a point where you found Nick? How did that play out?
Well, I didn't feel like nobody was helping me because some of my associates did try to step up and they found out they had stuff going on. Like most African Americans have high blood pressure. A couple of my
Sure.
people couldn't donate, they had high blood pressure, borderline diabetic. And then the protocol is different in New Jersey. The protocol in New Jersey is if you African American and you take one blood pressure medication, you can't donate. But if you caught
What?
one blood
Wow.
pressure medication,
Wow.
but if you Caucasian,
Wow.
but if you Caucasian or Hispanic, you can possibly do further testing. So I had one of my white friends, a male, his name Russell. Russell was getting tested to donate to me. Come to find out, Russell
Wow.
was on one blood pressure medication and he had been on it 10 years. They denied him. Then I had a friend that was going to donate. She lived in South Carolina. Don't you know the daggone nurse said to her, you sure you don't want to donate to somebody that live in your state?
Wow.
Mm.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
uh, it's like
oh
deterrent.
my goodness.
Right.
That's crazy,
They be doing
Tamika.
some shiesty
You gotta
stuff.
do some
A
research.
lot of corruption. A lot of
You
corruption.
gotta do some
Yep.
A
research.
lot of corruption.
Yep. So I started educating myself. It was like doing a research project, and I learned so
Mm.
much. So I was able to help other people and help people get listed in different states
Oh,
because
that's awesome.
yeah, because you don't know if ignorance is no longer bliss. If nobody don't tell you, then you got a reason to be ignorant. Now you had the
Hmm.
information, you only choose to remain ignorant. When they told me I could listen other places, please. My dialysis nurse told me about a new program that opened right up Route 78 in PA. He was like, go up there and get listed. They doing transplants, not a lot of people. So in the end, when I listed in DC, Florida was waiting to get the same paperwork that DC was waiting on, which was GYN clearance, a stress test, and dental clearance. In the end, they was fighting because Florida really wanted me to come there, but they didn't have a donor. They were like, it ain't gonna be long. They don't wear helmets when they ride the motorcycle there. And DC was like, no, we got her. She getting ready to get transplanted real soon. I was like, well, y'all gotta fight over me then. I'm going with
Wow.
whoever first. And Nick
Told you
was handling his
they
business, and my coordinator was on her A game. I was out of here. I was like, I'm going to DC. And when I went, and met with the team, I wanted to get transplanted there because you have a lot of millennials. They care about their job, even down to the people that park the cars. They treat you so nice.
Wow. Now let me ask you, Terry. You said something very important about listing in every place, but what do you say to one who financially can't list in multiple places? They're only subjected to where they live. Like, say, for instance, in Baltimore, there's only University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins. And what if one doesn't have the financial means, like to fly to Florida or go to Georgetown when they may call? Or is there any other way that they could?
You gotta get your ducks in a row, because when you get a transplant out of state, you gotta have a support system. I have an aunt that lives in Suitland, Maryland, who was my support system 20 minutes away from Georgetown. Right? You gotta get your ducks in a row. You have to. You gotta rally.
So basically, if maybe someone had a relative or relatives in different states, then maybe they can link up with them and possibility stay there or get listed and use their address. That's what you're saying?
Yep, you have to. Even if you gotta tell a little white lie. Even if you gotta tell a little white lie. You know, and say, well, I have an uncle that lives in Maryland. But in the meantime, somebody you know got some relatives or friends that live there, and they say they'll support you. They just got to go with you to that appointment when you meet with the team, and they got to assure the team that they're going to be there to support you. You got to have somebody, because you're not in no shape to take care of yourself.
Right.
But what I did feel, I didn't feel like my friends abandoned me. I felt like they didn't get it. Like they would say little things. You laying down again? All you did was slept all day. That's all I could do. I wanted
what do you think, Tamika?
Right. I think a lot of times people don't understand this disease, so they see you as looking like you're healthy, but you're really not. So they kind of dismiss the fact that you're really sick because you don't look sick.
Wow. Wow.
And now I'm not 100%, but I don't look like how I was looking. I don't feel weak. My scar where I had the surgery is still very sensitive. They say that take like a year to really heal for real, you know? It's still very sensitive to the scar. Huh?
Nick, how's your scar, Nick?
Oh, completely healed. And it's laparoscopic, so the scars are very small. The incisions are very small, and they healed very, very quickly. But I can say this. I talked to Steve about this. This was the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. Okay, as a donor, it's very painful. If they don't educate you that you need laxatives, you need to bring laxatives with you. And I want to tell anyone who's looking to become a donor, you need to do as much research as you can, but take this piece of advice. Make sure you bring laxatives with you, because that gas buildup can create such excruciating pain, you won't believe it until you experience it. And I'm telling you that right now. And prior to donating, I had watched several testimonies of kidney donors. I had asked a lot of questions during the orientation at Georgetown. I did my due diligence. No one, and I mean no one, mentioned gas pain. No donor, no one at the hospital. They didn't, and if they mentioned it, they breezed right by it. But I don't remember it. I'm telling you right now, they should have emphasized that you better bring as many laxatives as you can to make sure you expel that gas from your body. Because if you don't, you're going to be in excruciating pain. And it's going to be unforgettable. I'm telling you right now, my whole body on both sides, front and back, the entire torso, everything, I was in such pain. I couldn't lay down or lie down. I couldn't walk around. I couldn't breathe, nothing without pain. And it lasted for and it obviously, donor pain and recipient pain is different. But it was, I'm telling you right now, it was excruciatingly painful. And just be prepared for that, and make sure you have a good support system in place, like Terry said, because as a donor, you have to have someone there helping you out. Now, they say that, but they don't check up on you. Because Trina, the woman that I got tested for before, she was with me one day. But as a man, I have my pride. I didn't want her there beyond one day because I could take care of myself once that gas got out of my body. But what happened was, and I want to say this, is that they released me from the hospital after one night. And that's a mistake. Make sure if you're looking to become a donor that you request to stay in the hospital for 2 or 3 nights. I would say this because they treat donors and recipients a lot different. It's like with the donor, they get your kidney, get out of here. We got what we wanted, now get to stepping. That's basically how they treat you.
Wow.
And that's the truth. And I know Nick, the healing process.
Say that. You said that, Nick. I remember you saying
that. I mean, after one night, oh, you're ready to go. And I was staying in an apartment provided by Georgetown, which was nice. And at the time that they had discharged me, I felt relatively good, right? On my pain level on a scale from 1 to 10 was probably a 4, which was manageable. Okay. But by the time I got back to the apartment, it was at a 10. Wow. And there, I was in such pain. There's no way I could have called a cab. And you got to call cabs, you know, that type of thing in DC, the area I was in. You got to call cab. And it's just like, I just was in no position to do that. So Trina came the next day. She stayed with me. She brought laxatives. And I praise God for that, because then the gas started getting expelled. I was discharged. So my surgery was on a Tuesday. I was discharged on Wednesday. Trina came to stay with me on Thursday. And I started feeling better to the point where I could sit down without pain on Friday.
Wow.
And so, but I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't change a thing because of what I learned, the strength that I've always been a grace of God because of experiences the Lord has allowed me to go through. I've always been a strong person. This made me stronger. It made me, again, like Terry said, made me rely on the Lord more reliant upon him. And so it was awesome from that perspective. I wouldn't change anything. And I'm going to tell you right now, as long as you're prepared, also bring a heating pad. You know, make sure you're well equipped. They did not, and I love Georgetown, but there are things like not releasing me from the hospital after one night. And there are things they could have done better, educate me better about the potential pain and all that. But overall, it was a great experience. But I would say again, just do your due diligence. Take what I'm saying. Do as much research as you can. And again, to be a living donor, go to to find out more about the donor voucher program, the advanced donation program that I mentioned before. You can go to the donor-to-donor.net website. And if you scroll down a little ways under the what do we do, it gives the description. And again, it says we educate prospective living kidney donors to donate as safely and effectively as possible. We are devoted to helping end the kidney crisis in this country. And you'll see a link to more information about the paired match information. It's the paired kidney donation program, as well as the donor voucher program. And if you click on the donor voucher program option, it'll take you to a website called the National Kidney Registry, which is who the advanced donation program is through. And there's information on here. It says why the National Kidney Registry. You see information there. But all the benefits of donating through the National Kidney Registry, such as travel and lodging reimbursement, donation life insurance, donation disability insurance, legal representation. They provide all of that. Okay. So you want to go to this website, check it out if you're interested in becoming a non-directed donor through the advanced donation program. And then you'll find information about the voucher program. So again, if you go to the donor-to-donor.net website, scroll down under what do we do, you'll find information for the link to the donor voucher program. Check that out. I'm telling you, it's worth it. All the pain I went through was worth it. The 10.5 years was worth it.
Right.
Believe me.
Right. All right. So as we get ready to end this broadcast, let's hear from Terry before we close out. Now, Terry, what do you want people who's watching this broadcast right now, what do you want them to know about the voucher program that pretty much saved your life?
It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Um, don't give up. No matter how frustrated you are, how overwhelmed you are, don't miss your treatment, because when you miss treatment, you're cutting your life short. And you don't know what God is doing behind the scenes. See, I had no idea. Imagine if I'd have stopped going to treatment. We wouldn't be having this moment right here, because I'd be a thing of the past taking a dirt nap, you know? And Nick
Mm-hmm.
probably would have donated to somebody else. Terry who? We would have never met. You know, this is a precious moment that we're having. So I would tell people just hold on, because you're going to make some new memories one day. It may look cloudy, but just hold on. And I'm a perfect example of how the impossible became possible.
Mm-hmm.
It happened like
Mm-hmm.
that. Not when you don't have kids, siblings, or parents or relatives that are healthy enough to donate. A few
Right.
living donors. They screwed up one kidney, and I turned around and got another one, and it all spearheaded because of Nick and his kindness and his obedience. Nick is the
Wow.
real MVP here. So
Hey,
my
Jesus
message is, my
the Lord
message, right, is no matter how overwhelmed you are, stay in position and stay kind, because you never know who's going to save your life. You think it's going to be your best friend, but it'll be a total stranger.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Can I say one more
So,
thing? Just one more thing.
sure.
I created a Facebook page, and I'm working on creating an organization called Compassion Match. My goal is to directly pair or to connect donors and recipients. And
Nice.
all the information I mentioned is on, if you go on Facebook, just type in Compassion Match. I just created it today. I finally got around to doing it. Check it out. All the information I mentioned, from donor-to-donor.net, and the advanced kidney program, the donation program, the voucher program, is on that page. So check it out and support
You
it.
said on Facebook,
On
Compassion
Facebook,
Match.
Compassion Match. Yep.
All right, let me put this up. Compassion Match on Facebook. So those who may be watching and you're interested in transplantation, you can go to Pastor Nick's Facebook page, Compassion Match. You can also go to donor-to-donor.net to get information. And Terry, do you do any kidney advocacy, or talk to anybody to reach out to you?
I've thought about it, but if you want to share that on your blog or what have you, I'd be willing.
Sure. So if you're watching it, if anybody wants to talk to Terry Patterson as well, she's on Facebook. Patterson, your last name is not up, but it's just Terry. So, but her last name is Patterson, and you can reach her on Facebook. Pastor Nick, Terry Patterson, we definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. Nick, thank you for your support. We definitely always see you sharing our post, and also following us on Facebook. So, and also thank you just for your selfless act of donation after 10 years of struggle, and not not unwavering passion, giving up when you could have done that so many times. And
give God all the glory, Jesus all the glory. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So we'd like to thank both of y'all again for coming on. You, Terry Patterson, and Terry, Nick. Also, we would like to extend, if you would like to be a co-host on Warriors Quest, we would like to extend that to you as well, with Jared A. Brown. So that's every Wednesday, 8:30 to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So let us know if either one of you ever available on a Wednesday. We would love to have you to co-host. Again, you'll be able to share your story, Terry, as well as Nick, share about the voucher program again in your journey on Warriors Quest, where we have individuals looking for a living donor on that show. So you would definitely be a great co-host for that.
Amen.
For
Thank you
sure.
for having us.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you
yeah.
guys. Praise God. Thank you for the platform.
All right, Nick. I'll be talking with you soon. Terry, God bless you.
Absolutely.
God
Be
bless
talking
you
with
too.
you. And
Bye
thanks
God bless
again
you
for
guys.
coming on.
Bye,
All
Nick.
right, take care.
Bye, Terry.
All right, Nick. Thanks again. Take care, guys.
Okay,
Good night.
brother. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you. Hey, Tamika. Also, before we go, I wanted to say congratulations to Leslie DeVaul. I hope I said your last name properly. Tamika, Leslie got the call yesterday. I mean, yesterday morning, she posted, wanted everybody to pray for because she just got the call. And I've been following her. She had one of our shirts on. She supported, and she's going to be on a special broadcast tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So if you're not busy, I'll send you the link. And she's going.
This in a hospital.
Yes, at Piedmont in Atlanta. This is 2-day post-transplant interview, exclusive interview with Leslie DeVaul, who got her transplant yesterday at Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. So if you guys want to hear her story of her faith, her hope, her triumphs, her joys, her sorrows, her pains during this second wait. This is her second transplant. So this is going to just be an awesome show. That's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here on Urban Health Outreach Media. So, Tamika, your thoughts on tonight's show?
Was my take for one. I thought it was very interesting when she said about the blood pressure pills. That right there was like, wow. So the rumors that you hear about the racial disparity is true.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought this was a great story, and how they connected through another kidney warrior who was supposed to receive that voucher, and she got the call from Temple and introduced Nick and Terry, and it worked out for Terry.
Right. And then how Nick was trying to donate a kidney for 10 years. And at the age of 18, you can donate a kidney. So I don't know what that was about, what they was trying to discourage him.
And I'm that is crazy. And the reason why, Tamika, because I mean, it's no secret that Caucasians donate more than minorities. And for Nick to be a white male, he was the perfect candidate.
Yes.
The perfect candidate. And then for him to have these roadblocks put in front of him to prevent, or whatever the case, I guess it wasn't God's time for that to happen. It wasn't the season. And thank God that, like Terry said, if he would have donated to that guy, she wouldn't be here right now telling her story. So we've just been having some great stories, Tamika. And we just pray to continue to share these stories of hope.
Yes.
Positiveness, and just enjoy, in spite of dealing with this disease, that one can still live a quality, thriving life if you have the right information to go on, and not be ignorant about your treatment and your health. What do you think about that, Tamika?
Well, I think you're so correct on that people need to get more knowledge about the disease and how to combat it, and also get more information about transplants, different options. And you don't just take what the doctors say, you do your own research.
Absolutely. Even with pre-exemptive transplant, to make it, that's not talked about enough, because you had people that are at that stage of kidney disease. Maybe it may be 3 or 4 or 5, and it goes to 5, but they never knew that they could have got on the list prior to getting on dialysis. And what if they had somebody to donate, and they could have wait a minute. All right. You all right, Tamika? Oh, you muted. Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay, because Zoe's here, so she's making some noise.
Oh, okay. But what if they had someone to donate at that time, but no one told them that they could get on the transplant list early, and they go through the whole process of dialysis, and that would have been all for nothing when they could have got the transplant before going through the unnecessary process of getting on dialysis.
Right. That's why the education is so important. When you start to have kidney disease or any disease, that you learn also. You go in there knowing something, because I found out that once you go in there knowing something, they add a little knowledge on to you. But when you go in there knowing nothing, they don't really give you anything.
That's right. That's right. And so, I mean, let me just, Tamika, you've seen this. We all seen this, but this is what Terry, when she talked about the emergency dialysis where they had to admit her, this is the catheter that they put in that goes to your heart. The tip of this goes in your heart. And this is the other one, which is called the IJ, which goes in the side of your neck. But now, who wants to walk around with these man-made mechanical devices inside of you? And that is the result of being left diabetes and hypertension being left untreated for long periods of time. And once it gets down to stage 5, it's really no turning back. So
a lot of times that's where they walk in, stage 5, because a lot of times they're not going to the doctor, or the doctor isn't being honest with them about their kidney function, or they're just letting them wait it out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Give them the option to be on the transplant list now versus later.
Yeah. There's many warriors who've done that, and unfortunately, time ran out and they had to go on dialysis, but they're still advocating on the list, and they're still keeping a positive outlook and a positive attitude, and they know that their time is going to come.
Yeah, and then for family members, if you aren't unable to give, or you're telling your family member that you are going to give, honor your word, because the patients are holding on to this.
Absolutely.
Was arguing back and forth with the social worker, because he's like, no, I'm not getting this access because I'm waiting for my aunt. And deep down in my heart, I want to say to him, she's not going to come through. You've been on here for 2 years. 2 years. And she's not going to come through. And you have to be okay with that.
I know somebody else in this kind of a similar situation. They want their nephew to donate, and he keeps dragging his feet and going to a point, not keeping the appointments. And so, yeah, that could be tough, really tough, because that can create discourse and animosity. You're going to tell somebody you're going to do something, like you said, Tamika, honor your word. Don't just say that to gas them up and just have them thinking one way and it's really another way.
And then what it causes depression, because he's like, oh, if I have to be on here for 10 years, I'm just done. And I'm like, no, you can't be done. You have to go through the process. You just have to wait. Well, I'm not waiting. She gonna give me this kidney, and I'm like, okay, it's not for me to break his spirits, because that may be the only thing that's keeping him here. He's a young man. He's like 24 years old.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That.
Yeah. So I like, okay, but deep down inside, I want to just sit next to him and hold hold his hands and tell him the truth, that she's not coming through. You've been here since 22.
You know what, Tamika? We need to do a show on dialysis and the millennials, because I would really love to speak with anyone who's a millennial that's dealing with kidney disease, because I'm sure that's a whole different dynamic. Because when we started, Tamika, it was mostly older adults, seniors, people, in their 70s, 80s, and then you had your mixture of one or two young, adults. Then you had, people mixed in their 30s and 40s that may have had maybe a stroke or something else going on, but you didn't see dialysis like it is today 20 years ago.
When I started dialysis, I was the youngest person in the unit. I think I was like 21 when I started working in dialysis, and there was no patients younger than me. And,
absolutely, same here.
And now I see patients that's 20. They come to unit at 20 because they phase out. For some children's hospitals, they phase out at 20. But the other ones usually phase out at 21.
Absolutely. So this disease spares no one. However, we're going to always be here to give you, as Lisa Baxter say, the 411 in the kidney world and kidney education. So I know you got to go, Tamika. We've been on 90 minutes. You work tomorrow?
No, I don't work tomorrow.
Okay. That's awesome. So, okay. So let's make sure that I'm off. Well, I don't work, but I'll be home tomorrow, and let's make sure we touch bases.
We'll touch bases, most definitely.
Yeah. So this was a great show.
It was.
Each show, I think, gets better and better as we go on, and I just look forward to our guests and other professionals that will be on here in the future. So shout out to Nancy France for watching. Thanks, Nancy, for watching the show. If you're still watching, that's a friend of Terry's, mutual friend. So, all right, Tamika.
Yes, and shout out to Lisa Baxter and Jared for faithfully watching our show. Though they're part of the team, we still appreciate your support and always watching and engaging. Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we see you tomorrow night, Tamika. Hopefully you'll be here. If not, that's okay. But we're just gonna keep doing what we do and keep educating the masses.
And remember, your kidneys matter.
Absolutely. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching. God bless you. And Tamika, definitely let's touch bases tomorrow.
Yes, we will, Steve. You get some rest.
All right, baby.
Good night.
All right, you too. Get some rest yourself, all right?
Good night.
All right, babe. Talk to you. Love you. Take care and have a good night.